I am Daniel Kaluuya, and welcome to the Graham Norton Show.
Welcome to the show. Yeah, keep clapping. No, you can stop. And hello to our virtual studio audience. Hello, everybody. There they are. Hi. And you. Yes. Now, looks like you've all set up your cameras properly. Unlike that poor lawyer in America this week. Did you all see this?
Yeah.
The lawyer that appeared in front of a judge on Zoom and realised he had a filter on his screen. Here he is.
I'm prepared to go forward with it. I'm here live. I'm not a cat.
I like this guy having a bit of a sense of humour failure about the whole thing. Though, not as humorless as the judge who joined the call. Yay! We didn't even make that picture. It already existed. Very good. OK, so who have we got for you on the show tonight? A treat for Valentine's weekend. It's the Mr. and Mrs. of Mirth. That's who you are now. Top comic Marcus Brigstocke and even top comic Rachel Parris. He's the star of Primary Colours and Hustle, now bringing theatre to your home with a new play. It's Adrian Lester. And she's the star of Layer Cake, American Sniper and Foxcatcher, now bringing us the dark romance Wonder Darkly. It's Sienna Miller. Joining us later, the star of Blossom and The Big Bang Theory, Mayim Bialik will be here. And we'll be meeting the Oscar-nominated star of Get Out, Widows and Black Panther, our very own Daniel Kaluuya will be joining us. Plus, here in the studio, we will have stunning music from rising star Arlo Parks. Yeah. Welcome, everybody. Lovely to see you. As you were noticing, Adrian, look, people touching.
This is all legal, it's fine.
We're married and yet somehow you're still making it creepy.
Yes.
And now, Sienna, you've been in lockdown with your daughter.
Yes.
And now, this is top parenting, I would say. So you already had in your house, what do you call them? They're like a skateboard.
Hoverboard.
A hoverboard.
Yeah.
These are the things you stand on.
Lethal, but yes.
And you balance
And
on.
you hover and they move.
OK,
Yeah.
but you took the hoverboard, you took your daughter, and you said, I can make something better than that.
Yes.
What did you create?
We made a car with a cardboard box.
OK.
I mean, it's time for creativity.
Yeah.
Obviously, it's a nightmare. There's only so much that you can do with what you have in your house. And we found this cardboard box and turned it into a car and put it on the hoverboard, and then she could somewhat drive around.
That sounds a bit lame, I'll give you that. But here it is in action.
Yeah.
This is your daughter in action. Here we go. So there it
Oh,
goes.
wow.
Now, that, by the way, the balance required to do that is quite impressive.
That's all her.
She's in the box. Oh. she was in the box. Oh, no, here she is!
That is brilliant.
It sort of sums up 2020, especially with the crash at the end. Yeah.
Because, Adrian, now, how are you doing? Because I know you are a Keep Fit fanatic. So how is lockdown going?
It's been going OK. I'm out of the house now. I'm working, doing some theatre.
Oh, of course, we'll talk. Yes, that's why you're here. We'll talk about that.
Yeah.
I was thinking, what are you doing? Oh, yes, that. No, 'cause I remember when you were on the radio,
Yes.
you had special, stretchy cycling jeans.
You said it out loud. Everyone knows.
That's not them, though, is it?
But this is not them. This is not them. This is not
OK.
them. Yeah, we talked about cycling a lot.
Yeah.
And I remember telling you about a climbing shop. And in these climbing shops, you know, when you go climbing walls and things like the castle, you can. There's shops there, and every item of clothing in there is stretchy. Shirts, jeans, you know, really good for climbing. And
But they look like denim.
They look like denim.
A
like
jegging.
denim. Yeah, but great for the bike.
Yeah.
Great for life as well, because all of my clothes have mysteriously shrunk during lockdown. But literally all of them, which is weird.
That is weird. What a terrible wife you are. And Marcus and Rachel, you've been amusing yourself in lockdown. What's the new thing you're doing on Twitter?
Yeah, well, we've listened, obviously, during lockdown to a lot of radio, daytime radio. And the Jeremy Vine show became a bit of a fixture that we'd listen to.
It's amazing. So basically, if you haven't heard the Jeremy Vine show, you'll know from years at Radio 2. The Jeremy Vine show is a phone-in show where Jeremy just gets the subject from the day's news, so doesn't always know everything about it, but the people ringing in know absolutely fuck all. But very opinionated. So Jeremy will kick off, and the bigger the subject, the better. So loads of people phoning in, 288 291, the Jeremy Vine show here, Radio 2. Should we be putting people in quarantine who are arriving here? We've got a phone call on line 1. Who have we got on line 1?
Hello, Jeremy. This is Margaret from Cornwall.
So, should we be putting people in quarantine, Margaret from Cornwall?
Well, it's a good question, Jeremy, but let me first talk to you about electric scooters. They're taking over the road, Jeremy. I won't have it. They're dangerous. Are they legal? Do you need a licence for them?
OK, well, we do want to stick to the COVID situation if we can.
I'll tell you one thing about COVID, Jeremy. There's too many repeats on television. The same film 3 times.
This is Ed Sheeran. So we do that. But the lovely thing is, we put it out there, Jeremy Vine retweets them. They go, absolutely hilarious. So it's lovely. It's really fun.
Oh. Now, we start tonight with Sienna Miller's new film, Wander Darkly. In the introduction, I described it as a dark romance. It is one of those films, good luck, because it is quite hard to tell people about it. What are you saying? Who are you, I guess?
OK, it's really difficult to describe. It's a very surreal love story. And essentially, we get into a car accident and we're not sure whether I died or survived. And Diego Luna and my character go back on a journey to the inception of their relationship and can kind of track where they went wrong. So they go on this surreal journey back in time and through time. And I honestly, I've never been able to...
But it's interesting because oddly, it doesn't sound like it would be, but it is kind of based on a real event.
It's based on a true story. Yeah, and we've all gone mad this year. No, it is. The writer-director, Tara Mealy, who's amazing, she had a car accident with her husband and was very concussed. They were both all right. It wasn't great, but nowhere near the tragedy that she kind of embellished it to be in the film. And there was a moment where she wasn't sure whether she had died. She'd called to her child, she was in a concussion, and the child ignored her, which kids do. But for a split second, she was like, what if I died and I... And it was that one tiny little thought that inspired this.
Wow. Well, listen, we've got a clip. This is you after the accident being reunited with your husband, Mateo, played by Diego Luna.
You can see me.
What?
I died. I died. Mateo.
Okay.
It's so wrong that was it. It was just like headlights and a half gas.
Stop. You're confused. We had an accident.
Oh, my God, you're dead, too.
What? No. You're concussed. That's it.
No. I'm dead. If I could step into traffic now, it wouldn't matter.
Hey! Hey. It's okay.
What is this, like purgatory? What's happening to me?
So good.
I like it.
Very good.
That summed up lockdown for me.
It's very... she has no idea where she is or what's happened to the world that she's living in. And the fact that this film is coming out now is just like, everyone's like, I get it. I get it.
And you went to do filming in LA, but you didn't have the money to kind of lock down streets.
Yes, yeah. On a big film, they can kind of block traffic for 5 minutes or so. But this, we had 60 seconds. And a lot of the scenes that were on the street were kind of really intense drama and emotion. And yeah, I'd have to jump out of a moving car and kind of attack someone and break down sobbing. They'd be like, OK, cut, release traffic. And it was, you know, then 20-minute break and then back into it. So it was really... I wish I could say that I loved making it. It was one of the more... It was one of those ones where at the end I was dragging my carcass to the finish line, like, and convinced it was, you know, I'd ruined the entire thing. And then it got into Sundance, and it's kind of done much better than I thought.
When you were filming on the
No
street,
fault of anyone else.
did you ever have to cut because there were, like, passers-by who were just like, da-da-da-da-da?
No. Annoyingly, no.
Is that, do you think in LA, maybe they're more used to it? I feel like if that was here... But, hey, look, there's a film.
I've had a couple of oi-ois here, you know,
Yeah.
but
Sorry
no,
about
not there, yeah.
Because when you were in Hustle, I mean, you filmed a lot of Hustle in London, just on the streets of London.
Yeah.
So you must have had that, people going, oh, look.
Yeah, we had people going, oh, look, there's one one moment that comes to mind, and it's we did this sequence where Mark Warren and I had to run naked across Trafalgar Square. I never imagined when I was training to be an actor, doing those voice classes and studying the text, that I would just get my kit off and run across Trafalgar Square.
Really, you should have been doing squats.
I should have been doing squats.
There you are.
I know.
Oh, there it is. Beautifully toned.
If I looked like that, I'd run naked across
I was young.
But Trafalgar Square, you can't shut Trafalgar Square.
You can't shut Trafalgar Square off, and you can't stop the public going where they want to go. You can ask them, but if they refuse, I'm doing my shopping, they just go through. So we had 100 extras on that day, and we'd scatter them about. And in Trafalgar Square, that meant nothing. So Mark and I jump out of the back of this van, and they shoot us running across the square, and no one shouts, cut. And so we run across the square, and we keep going, and we're clutching things, junk, and we cross the square, and we run up the stairs, and then they shout, "God!" from way back. But by then, this one take, I'd run across the square, I'd done my bit, I'd got to the top of the stairs, I'd looked where I was going, and I turned right, and I ran, and there was a woman, a tourist, who'd just come to London to see the sights.
Lucky her.
And she was with her daughter. And I remember this poor woman, I turned and I ran towards her, and she went, and she covered her daughter's face. As if, you can't look, I'll make sure nothing's wrong.
Was that this moment? Was that...
That's that moment just before I turned right. I'm sure one day I'm going to get a bill from that kid for her therapy.
It would be funny if they were watching this. Go, that was the man!
That's a man! Really, it actually happened.
I'm a huge Hustle fan. I've seen it from start to finish twice, at least. It was before I was with you.
Yeah, I was going to say, I don't know if it could be seen, but when it was mentioned about you running naked across the square, Rachel went... Now, I don't know what this mime is, but it's something.
It was just like, I know the scene you mean.
I didn't notice that.
Yeah. You were looking over there, Rachel, honestly. And we ran naked across the square. I thought you were holding them, but clearly something's going on.
I was just like, yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, Sienna's film, Wonder Darkly, is available for digital download from the 8th of March. Right, it's time to meet our first virtual guest tonight. He's the star of Get Out, Queen and Slim and Black Panther. Please say hello to Daniel Kaluuya! Daniel Kaluuya, pipe smoker extraordinaire.
On Friday night, I'm gonna do one. I'm gonna do this Friday night. The next one, I'm gonna get in a pipe.
Now, apparently, I hear, because you look amazing, but I hear in first lockdown, you slightly pulled the ripcord. You let go.
Boy, I don't even know about let go. I just let love happen. You know what I'm saying? Let love happen. It's like eating takeaways. I decided I didn't want to cook. I just decided I was just living my life. I was living my life. I don't know. I was having everything. I was eating everything. So I was just living, Graham. No, what about you, man? How did you handle lockdown?
I didn't like it because I had to do a show in my back bedroom, which a television show, not like for neighbours. Check this out.
Babe station.
Yeah. So it was great, but I just kept working. But you apparently you've learnt skills in lockdown.
Yeah, I learned how to write with my left hand. Yeah, I decided.
Wow.
It's useful. None of us thought of it.
Sums it up, doesn't it? 2020.
Yeah. I'm just like, I don't know, because I write a to-do list every morning, you know, because it helps my brain, because my brain's quite... So I just thought, let me just I've always wanted to learn my left hand, so I just did it every day. And what happens is the first day I did it, I looked like, I don't know, I looked like I was in like my house was being bombed. That's how it looked. That's how my writing looked like. My house was being bombed. It was shaking. I was running around. But seeing the progression in 6 months was amazing. It kind of makes you realise that, if you just put your mind to it and show up every day, you can really make some advancements.
Yeah,
you know?
no, that's really useful.
Can you do it at the same time? You do that at the same time?
Adrian, you're giving me ideas, my guy. I wasn't thinking about that. I wasn't thinking about...
Yeah.
I want to see everyone's faces when you do it, when you go, I'll make a note of that.
Oh, yeah. How many? Yeah. Or in meetings, I'll sign all the checks.
Yeah,
I'm signing all the checks. OK, let's talk about your new film. This is Judas and the Black Messiah. Already Golden Globe nominated. Congratulations, Daniel Kaluuya. And so this is it's an important bit of American history, which certainly I didn't know. So tell us about it. Who do you play?
I play Chairman Fred Hampton, who is the leader of the Black Panther Party in the Illinois chapter. And then so basically the Black Panther Party has a history of being antagonized by the US government and by the mainstream US media. And but the reality is that they were like feeding kids with a breakfast program. They were setting up free health clinics. They were educating kids. They was doing so much amazing stuff for the community. And then because they were doing that, people thought, oh, they're an issue, they're a problem, they're an issue, they're a problem. And so basically there was a mole in the Black Panther Party. So it goes through William O'Neill, played by Lakeith Stanfield. And basically he's trying to bring down the Black Panther Party from within. But he starts believing in what Chairman Fred is saying.
I certainly wasn't aware of this this part of that story. Were you, or how did you prepare for this? How does it work?
But I had to do so much stuff. I sat down with an opera singing coach because I have all these speeches. And I realized like, oh, I'm in a play and everyone else is in a film, you know? And then so basically I have to like project my voice for like 12 hours and I have to do a scene that day or do a scene the next day. So I go to an opera singing coach and sit down with her, do gospel songs, do songs that felt like the speeches and then do the speeches. I like to engage your diaphragm and then like condition your vocal cords and then like study cadence because he had a different cadence to when he spoke to when he did speeches. So I would do all that, do you know what I'm saying? So there's a lot, man.
Well, you did an amazing job because at the end of the film we see a little clip of the real man and it's extraordinary what you've done.
Thank you, man. Cheers for that, Graham, man. Yeah, it worked really hard, man. Yeah.
Well, listen, we've got a clip and funny enough, it is you as Fred Hampton doing one of those famous speeches. It's the I Am a Revolutionary speech.
It's not a question of violence or non-violence. It's a question of resistance to fascism or non-existence within fascism. You can murder a liberator, but you can't murder liberation. You can murder a revolutionary, but you can't murder revolution. And you can murder a freedom fighter, but you can't murder freedom. I said, hey, I'm revolutionary. Hey, I'm revolutionary.
This film sees you reunited with Lakeith Stanfield from Get Out. So, like, when you were out and about, people must have loved it, seeing the two of you together again.
Yeah, it was... We went to a bowling alley in Cleveland, because we shot in Cleveland. And then, like, people just coming up to Lakeith doing, like, flashing stuff and doing something. And I felt, oh, man... I thought it just happened to me. I felt less alone. I was like, oh, man, that happens to you as well. Oh, man, yeah, that's cool. But, like, I kind of sometimes just sit in the corner with my hat low and just pretend I don't exist to myself, though. You know what I mean? So, like, so I try to keep in the shadows and stuff. So.
Is it you, Rachel, who's watched it? How many? You've watched it a few times.
2 or 3 times, yeah.
We loved it so much, and I'm sure this is the point of the film, but we literally sat there going... Get out! Get out!
Get out of there!
You must get out!
Yeah, when I have conversations now, I have to say, yeah, leave. And like,
that film did so well. I mean, it took hundreds of millions of dollars around the world. But is it true that you... I mean, why did this happen, that you didn't go to the premiere? You weren't invited to the premiere?
Nah, they didn't invite me, bro. They didn't invite me.
No, that can't be true.
On the Sundance World premiere, yeah, I was in Atlanta because I was shooting Panther. And then I was chilling, and I was like, I cleared my schedule. I was like, yo, I really wanted it, and then they just didn't get an invite, man. Just didn't get it. I wasn't invited. So I was just in my bed. Someone texted me, it's gone really well. I'm like, all right, that's cool. That's all right. Yeah.
Oh my God.
That's the industry, Graham. Yeah, you know I mean? This is the game.
Somebody fucked up.
Yeah.
I mean,
has this come up since then? Like, have you asked them about it?
No. You know, I don't ask questions. I just like, I get it, man. That's cool. Like, I'm very
cool.
good. I have nice beds.
I would send a stern left-handed note.
Email.
No. You don't want to be in a place that you don't feel wanted. You feel me?
But you mentioned Black Panther there, and Black Panther 2. Am I right in thinking that is now happening?
That's what the streets are saying, Graham. That's what the streets are saying. Yeah, Graham.
Okay.
Yeah, man.
Which will be very exciting, but also kind of tinged with terrible sadness, because, of course, Chadwick Boseman's no longer with us.
Yeah, man. It's, I don't even understand how, like, we're gonna have to honor him, honor him and give as much to his legacy as much as he gave to us, because he gave us everything.
Yeah.
Stayed here to give us everything, and like an incredible man, an incredible soul.
But listen, Black Panther 2, we look forward to that. Judas and the Black Messiah is coming to screens very soon. Do see it if you can. Daniel Kaluuya, everybody. Good night, sir.
Yeah. Appreciate you, Jeremy. Thanks for having me.
Oh, bye-bye. Cheers.
Good luck.
Oh, what a nice man. Such a kind of focused, amazing person, isn't he?
Yeah, incredible.
But that won't last. He's young.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Yeah. Once he's got that left-hand writing thing down.
Yeah.
He'll work on his right foot.
Now, people can't go to the theatre right now, so Adrian Lester, for to see, is bringing the theatre to them. So tell us all about this. It's a new play, Hymn, as in a song in a church, not a man. Hymn.
Yeah, H-Y.
Oh, there it is.
Yeah.
I didn't need to do that. it's written up. Go.
Well, OK, it's a two-hander. Lalita Chakrabarti, the writer, my wife, wanted to write a play about love between two men that was neither physical or romantic. And the more she thought about it, the more she thought about the men that she knew, my extended family, cousins, brothers, uncles, and our friends, she realised she's never seen that on stage, really. There's always some sort of excuse made for that kind of sensitivity between two men. And she wanted to explore it, and she gradually started putting pen to paper or finger to keyboard, and came up with this story of two men who meet at a funeral, think they have nothing in common, and they gradually begin to connect and become friends, and it gets deeper than that. And there's singing, there's dancing, there's body popping, there's break dancing. Me and Danny Sapani do all sorts of things. She also wanted to make it a sort of virtuosic piece, so that we would be really put through our paces, and yeah, we are. So
because it's live streaming from the Almeida Theatre from this Wednesday the 17th to Saturday the 20th. Tickets available now, and what's great is the tickets aren't very expensive, and the Almeida is one of those places it sells out immediately. So this is actually give more people a chance to see this play.
More people, and so we're doing it purely to cameras. There's nobody in the theatre. It's live every night. If something goes wrong, thousands of people are going to see it. And I had to get my head around that actually over 1,000 people can be watching each performance, and yet we're in a theatre that seats 300 and something. So that's kind of weird. But we are socially distanced all the way through. We have to stay 2 meters apart. I can't touch any prop that he uses. Different cups, different chairs, it's been tricky to rehearse, but it's been really, really good to get some theatre on at the moment.
We've got a picture of you in rehearsals here. So is that a prop, or is that to keep you 2 meters away?
Every time I get close to him, he just goes...
Back off.
That is a swimming assist. It's a noodle. And it's being used... This is a sort of a gym scene, and it's being used as one of the props.
Oh, so it's a prop. It's not
it's a prop.
So it's all... Because I thought... Because people do use those noodles as a 2 meter thing,
That's the thing. That he's using it as a prop, and we're just working a scene out there. But it was useful, all the markings on the floor. We had... So that's 1 meter 10 at one way, and 70 centimeters another way. We were very, very careful about everything.
Yeah. The idea of a live show now, I'm craving that so... Obviously, we're in one right now, but... Other than it...
A good one? To see a good one.
You two are far too close. I don't know what's going on.
This is so freaky.
Where's our noodle?
Yes,
so exciting.
And do you run naked across the square towards a mother and child at any point?
I've been trying to get that into the script.
OK.
But the writers...
Nearly as exciting. You do, as you say, you do breakdancing. Were you able to breakdance before, or did you learn for this?
I was able to breakdance before, and I've kind of... I can breakdance less now.
Because it's not a skill... is it a skill you've kept up?
It's kind of.
Really?
Well, OK, I'm going to stand up. Can I do this?
Are you doing it?
Yes, please.
Yes.
Oh, okay. Surely you've got to do it.
Wait, don't spin around, because sweat will fly off and hit us all.
It'll be just wrong. No, but breakdancing is the stuff you do on the floor.
OK.
Right? So body popping is the stuff you do when you're standing up. Okay. So when we started, I was about 13, 14 in Birmingham, right? The body popping started with kind of mime. we would do things like this.
Yeah.
And those kind of things.
Oh.
That. Then it moved into robotics, which everyone knows what robotics is. You know, that kind of
He's a robot, he's a robot.
Okay? and then you get electric boogaloo, which is where you chase a ball of energy around your body. So you get things like that.
Oh.
And so that...
We're loving it.
I mean, you know, screw friendship between two men. That's what people want to see. They want to see some boogaloo.
But there's electric boogaloo. So there's a bit of that, but they reminisce and they go back and they talk about music they used to listen to and dancing they used to do, and it has a lot of that in it as they connect and find this affection for each other.
I love
the amount of people that are doing that right now at home, by the way. If I was on my own, I would be really trying it out.
Yeah. Well, no, because Marcus and Rachel, you're kind of doing a similar thing. You're doing stand-up,
Yes.
but live streamed.
But with much cheaper tech.
It is cheaper.
Okay.
And we can touch each other. In fact, often the audience insist on it.
So this is weekly? It's every Tuesday night?
Yeah, we started off doing some online gigs when lockdown first happened, and we were obviously a bit sceptical at first because it's so different to what we're used to. But then we got offered, like a weekly online gig with just us, which we thought we'd have enough material for, like, 10 minutes.
Yeah, we said to him, because it was £3 for people to watch, and we said to the guy, it's James Gill, who runs this brilliant comedy club called Always Be Comedy, and they, for online shows, have just smashed it. And we said, well, yeah, sure, we'll probably manage half an hour or so. And we've done about an hour and 20 minutes every single Tuesday for the last 8 months or so, yeah.
Wow.
It's amazing. Yeah, it's great. So we spend the week, like, writing notes, coming up with stuff and games and bits that we do, and yeah, it's fab.
But for comedy, though, it can't be like Adrian saying, you must be able to hear them.
Yes, so there's a front row, basically, so about 20 to 30 people, is it?
Yeah, it's enough to feel like you can see people laughing, you can hear people laughing.
And not laughing.
And not laughing, yeah.
Never going to say that again.
And you know, like, we can see right into their homes as well. So in terms of the interplay with it, you can just go for it and just slag off their houses.
But isn't this weird? So here you are, you both have these successful stand-up careers, but kind of lockdown has turned you into a double act.
Yeah.
Yeah, it really did. Like, we'd done a bit of improv together in the past, like, before we got together. So we'd worked together before sporadically, but, yeah, since lockdown, we've had to.
Huh? That's not how I see it. Because we were both ill. We both had COVID very early on when the pandemic hit, and we sort of, when we came out of that and then realised, oh, everything's gone. Our tours have gone, the Edinburgh Festival's gone, everything we're doing is gone. And then we started playing around doing these lip-sync videos. And
yes, so these went mad.
They went nuts. It was literally, Rachel did... What was the first one you did? Some massive thing.
I think, is this it? We've got a clip, because they start quite simple. Is that the first one?
Yeah.
So you did that, then you did a reply, and then you started involving kind of costumes. And then, look at this, production values through the roof. And then a smoke machine, and then you've got a... Look at... Oh, my God. But did you have all this stuff in your house?
Yeah.
The smoke machines and things?
Yeah, because so many Edinburgh shows, you know, and festivals that we've been to, so we do have things like costume and all the rest of it. And people started getting really picky, didn't they?
Yeah, they did. And people would be like, oh, I see you've ordered lederhosen off Amazon. And we were like, no. Marcus owns lederhosen.
I have lederhosen.
Of course he does.
Lederhosen. It was really... It blew up. And then we got this phone call from Good Morning America, and we had, like, how many briefing calls did we have?
Like 7 or something, with the most American man we've ever heard, called something like Chad Todd.
Yeah. Buck war crime. And it just, and we had to... We went through it so many times, and then eventually we were on Good Morning America, and these two presenters, who clearly knew nothing about what we were doing, went... And in the United Kingdom, a married couple have been amusing themselves with whatever this is.
They were like, Marcus and Rachel, we love you guys so much. And we were like, you don't know who we are.
But did they think you were just like a wacky couple?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so. And we had, throughout that time as well, Fox News were tweeting us in caps, like once an hour, going, this is Fox News, you have to get back to us. You have, caps, emails to both agents and stuff. We were like, we're not speaking to you, you're Fox News.
Yeah.
Well, it is Valentine's Day weekend. Have you got lovely plans? You don't have to tell us.
We've both got radio shows on Valentine's night, so
Yeah.
we'll be listening to our own work.
Marv.
So romantic.
Yeah.
Because it is weird the things that people think are going to be romantic. Like this, the rose petals on the bed.
Oh.
I don't understand it. I mean,
No.
that looks like somebody died. That looks like a wreath at the top there. But some people, you know, if they think that's too subtle, you can always go with something more direct, like this. That's what I want. Or you could do what this man did and buy a rose floral duvet and pillow set. It does look like
Absolute crime scene.
But it is what it... It just looks like, I love you so much, I've eaten you. Men, why not shave your chest and stomach hair into hearts? This is why not.
That is so close. The upside-down heart on his tummy is so...
All shades.
Yeah.
But, you know, Valentine's Day, you need stuff. I think I found a shop where you can get all your essentials. Valentine's candy, candles, pepper spray. That's covered. And if you're alone on Valentine's Day, my local supermarket has a lovely suggestion. As far as I know, that's a real picture.
Oh, my God.
Happy Valentine's Day, everybody. Well done. Yeah. Right, time to meet our final virtual guest tonight. She is the star of Blossom and the global hit The Big Bang Theory. Please welcome Mayim Bialik. That's who that is. Hello, how are you?
I'm okay. How are you?
We're very well. All the better for seeing you. Sienna Miller's here. Adrian Lester's here. Rachel Parris, Marcus Brigstocke. Hello. So
Hi.
Are you in Los Angeles?
I am in Los Angeles, which formerly had been the head of Quarantine Central, but now we're doing a little better, so yes.
Yes, I believe we've taken that title. So now, obviously, people in this country, they know you from Blossom, The Big Bang Theory, but now you have a strange link to Britain because you are kind of Miranda.
So, yeah, we are doing an American adaptation with all great respect towards the BBC, the General United Kingdom, and Miranda. We are doing an American version. You know, we like to point out to people that just like there are people who understand Fawlty Towers and people who don't, we have different senses of humor. So this is definitely an American version.
Because it's called Call Me Kat, and it's called Call Me Kat for a very good reason.
Well, her name is Catherine, and her mother always calls her Catherine when she wants to be known as Kat. So we have that contentious mother-daughter relationship with which Miranda, you know, captured so nicely. But also, she does own a cat cafe, and instead of a joke shop, we have a cat cafe. We didn't think American audiences could handle a joke shop, so we have a cat cafe.
But of course, it's all very well to, you know, in a script, kind of go, she opens a cat cafe, but then you need to open a cat cafe. So, like, how many cats are in the cafe on a good day?
Well, it depends on if you like cats or not. We have about 6 to 10 cats, depending on the scene. And I'm very proud to say our cats are not drugged or tethered, but that means that our cats are not drugged or tethered, so it can be very challenging.
And so this is Call Me Kat, and it should be coming to our screens over here later in the year. And, you know, I think, as I mentioned Blossom there, and we know that from the 90s, but before that, you played the young Bette Midler in Beaches.
Oh, yeah. Correct.
Was that the first thing you did?
That was the first thing that kind of got me a lot of notice. I had done a lot of appearances on American sitcoms like Webster and Facts of Life, you know, some of the best culture that we export to the rest of the world. So I had done, you know, lots of sitcom work in that year, but I was considered a late bloomer as a child actor. I started acting at 11, which I know sounds very young, but most child actors start when they're 2 and 3, you know, in commercials and such. So Beaches came out when I was 13. I had just started acting a year before, and then it was from that I got the series Blossom.
Well, you're not the only child actor here, because Adrian Lester, how old were you when you appeared in the seminal drama Crossa Roadsa?
What?
No, you were in Crossroads a lot.
I was in Crossroads. I got my equity card, or a provisional equity card, when I was about 15. So they used me as a young walk-on in this long-running series that was shot in Birmingham, north of London, for you know, every summer, every time I finished school, I'd go along and do this before I went off to drama school. So for about 3 years, I'd pop off and do some Crossroads.
Well, we've got a still of you in a later episode. Rachel, I mean, there's going to be a lot of this. A lot of this. Check out Adrian Lester in Crossroads. Here he is at the... Look at those in the short shorts. Electric Boogaloo. Yeah.
I can't stop looking at the shorts. I haven't gotten to the hair.
No, look at the hair.
No. We all stopped at the shorts. Because Marcus, how old were you? You were very young when you were... Was it an Oliver you were in?
Oh, yeah, this was tragic. Yeah, I was cast as Mr. Bumble in Oliver, and we rehearsed it for 2 weeks. And just before we did the first one, they said, we thought it would be lovely if Mr. Bumble didn't sing so much as speak. So we'll sort of play the music, but you come along and you hold Oliver and you say, boy for sale. And I thought, oh, yeah, no, that's good. Yeah, I absolutely bought. They were being very kind. And so I'd sort of do it and hold him and go, boy for sale. He's going cheap. And they go, what we said about no singing, yeah? Let's do lovely big speaking voice. I knew. I was like, oh, I'm shit, aren't I?
But Sienna Miller, of all of us, you nearly appeared in the theatre The Youngest of All, didn't you?
Oh, I did?
Yes.
My mother went into labour with me during the Nutcracker Suite in New York City. And she's such a trooper. I mean, it's a lot to hear, but her waters actually broke during a performance, and she stayed. Yeah, just after Christmas. And I was... apologies to the people next to her, but she just rode it out, full contractions, and I was born, the next day. It was the 27th of December.
I mean, fair...
Joe Miller.
Well, I guess it's one of those things. I guess it's less embarrassing to sit there after your waters break than to get up and try and excuse eyes.
She said I wrapped my coat around me and I was not going to miss. So, I mean...
But you know what British people are like? It's more, I'm thinking of the people sitting next to her trying to pretend nothing's happened.
Yeah, it's fine.
No, clearing their throat.
Yeah.
And Mayim, so you had all this huge success early, and then you did the thing that nobody does. You walked away. You went and you decided, right, I'm going to get an education. But you didn't just get an education. I mean, you're a PhD.
Yeah, I have a doctorate in neuroscience. I left the industry for 12 years, actually. I really wanted to, experience life where you're valued kind of for what's in between your ears and not just what you can sort of provide for other people. And I was really ready. I come from an immigrant background. My grandparents were immigrants. And so I was raised that you go to college no matter what. So when Blossom ended, I was 19. I was 2 years out of high school already. And I went to college and I ended up meeting the person who I married. We both applied to grad school together. And I had my first son in grad school. He's now 15. And I had my second son. I took my hood 8 months pregnant. I was that lady on the stage, really, really pregnant. And I taught neuroscience for about 5 years after getting my degree, and literally was running out of health insurance and figured if I can just get a couple parts, I'll get my SAG insurance back. I had never seen The Big Bang Theory. I didn't know what it was, and was cast, and literally my life changed. I had at that time, a toddler and a little older toddler.
So were you the only one on set who actually knew what you were talking about?
Well, Jim Parsons would say I was the only one who knew what everyone's lines were, not just mine.
But presumably, if they got things wrong, would you step in and go, excuse me, I have a doctorate in neuroscience?
you know, I think no one wants to be that actor, you know, especially when you come on a show that's incredibly successful. You don't need this nerd coming on being like, excuse me, you got that wrong. But yes, if there were biology specific things, I was often asked to like fix it, make it right, tell us what you would be doing in the lab.
But you are getting to use, because you worry that you know all this stuff, where's it going? But you are using it now. You are using it now.
I psychoanalyze everyone that I meet. I use it all the time.
But you're using your knowledge now in your new podcast, Mayim Bialik's Breakdown. Tell us about it.
Yeah, so you know, 2020 was quite a doozy, and I really decided to start saying no to a lot of other requests in my life and hunker down and create a podcast exclusively about mental health. I grew up in a home riddled with mental illness. You know, I don't want to say suffered from. I've lived with OCD and depression and anxiety my whole life. And breaking down the stigma is also something that I'm trying to do. I'm trying to share what I've tried, what's worked, what hasn't. I mean, I've gone to shamans, I've taken pharmaceuticals, I've done a lot of things, and I'm still figuring it out. And that's sort of what my life is now, is podcast and working and trying to just be a normal person for my children as much as possible.
Wow, well, you are an inspiration. The podcast is available wherever you get your podcasts, and Call Me Cat will be heading here shortly. Mayim, a pleasure to meet you. Ladies and gentlemen, Mayim Bialik.
Thank you.
Thank you, thank you. Good night. Right before we hear tonight's musical performance, I need a volunteer to sit in the red chair. Anyone up for it at all?
Yeah, all right.
Hey!
I've actually always wanted to go
have
in the
you?
red chair. I've always wanted to. Yeah.
I like the way he's upselling
Like an
it.
idiot.
He's upselling it. He's got to love it. All right, it's time for music. This breakthrough artist has been called the voice of her generation. Here performing Caroline from her debut album, it is Arlo Parks.
Waiting for the bus one day, watched a fight between an artsy couple escalate. Strawberry cheeks flushed with defeated rage. Then he spilled his coffee as he frantically explained. Maybe if you took a breath, you would hear me when I talk to you. Threw her necklace in his face, eyes so bright with disappointment. I saw something inside her brain. Everybody knows the feeling. Suddenly he started screaming, Caroline, I swear to God I tried. I swear to God I tried. Her skirt as she ran, panicking and weaving through the crowds on Oxford Street. Watched his world dissolve in his hands, tried to roll a blunt and put his head between his knees. Maybe if she took a breath, she would know I did it all for her. Of sage, her eyes blind with disappointment. I couldn't recognize her face. Shards of glass live in this feeling. Have to somehow stop her leaving. Caroline, I swear to God I tried. I swear to God I tried. I swear to God I tried. Caroline, I swear to
Thank you, thank you, thank you. Oh, welcome. Have a seat there, Arlo. I hope you ordered white wine, because that's what you've got. How are you?
Yeah, I'm doing well, thank you. How are you?
I'm so... all the better for that. We were all just... I know we're not
so
your
beautiful.
ideal audience, but we, we loved it.
Yes,
No, it's beautiful. Absolutely gorgeous. So, Caroline, that is off the new album, Collapsed in Sunbeams.
Yes, it
Here it is. And look at this. How old school is this? It comes with a poster, ladies and gentlemen. A poster!
Amazing.
I know. How cool is that?
Yeah, it is funny, because I grew up with, like, having so many posters on my walls, and, like, I've been getting a few messages of, like, me being now on someone else's wall, which is, I think that's amazing.
That's awesome.
And I should say that is out now. The album's out now and the single's out now.
Yeah, indeed.
It's all out there. Yeah.
If you listen to Radio 6, it's on all the time.
Yeah,
I know
yeah.
all the words. It's very hard.
No, because I was thinking, one of the nice things about doing this job, being here so long, is, people come and go, but every now and again you hear a really special new voice like that. It's just gorgeous. Really
I'm
lovely.
getting so much love right now. Thank you.
Well, I was quite upset because when, like, last year, me and my husband were like, we've discovered this amazing new artist called Arlo Parks. None of you will know. We know her. And then whenever we mention your name to anyone, everyone's like, yes, obviously we know who Arlo Parks is.
And you, I mean, you have a tour that it probably will happen.
Yeah, I mean, fingers crossed. It's like towards the end of this year.
Oh, come on.
And, fingers crossed, right?
I mean, grannies can already book, so that's good. Yeah.
That'll be your audience.
It'll be old people desperate to get out of the house.
Rocking out.
Filming on their phones for their kids. No, it is amazing. And it's, like I say, it's a really special sound, really special voice. So thank you very much for the beautiful performance. Arlo Parks, everybody! Yay! Right, that is nearly it before we go. Just time for Visit the Big Red Chair. He's always wanted to sit there, always. Marcus Brigstocke, hello.
I'm a bit nervous now I'm in it, Graham.
No, I don't think it's as dramatic as it looks. We'll find...
Well, we'll see.
They haven't given you a test run or anything?
No, they have not given me a test run.
OK, well, let's see how we get on. Maybe all the stories will be great and you won't be flipped.
Fingers crossed. I'm pretty confident that I won't get flipped.
OK, great. Good for you. OK, who's up first? Hello.
Hiya.
What's your name?
Anna.
Anna, and where are you, Anna?
I'm in London. I live in London.
OK. You are telling a story to keep Marcus Brigstocke in that chair. Off you go, Anna.
Do all you can.
Okay, crossing my fingers for you. So, years ago, I used to work as a professional horse rider at a warm blood stud in New South Wales in Australia. And back at the time, we were serving mares naturally. So stallion gets on the mare, right? I was holding the mare, my best friend David was holding the stallion, and when you're holding the stallion, you are very close to where the magic happens, right?
Yes.
So our stallion hopped on the mare, missed a few times. David was trying to, help a bit. He missed again and unloaded completely in his face.
Well done. You can walk, Anna. You can walk.
I cannot tell you how relieved I am that on the punchline, unload in his face, I wasn't suddenly swooshed backwards because I think it could have been too vivid.
Yeah, I don't think you're as relieved as the horse. OK, that really is all we've got time for. If you'd like to go in the red chair yourself and tell your story, you can. Just contact us via our website at this very address. That is it. Please say a huge thank you to all of my guests. Arlo Parks! Rachel Parris! Marcus Brigstocke! Mayim Bialik! Adrian Lester! Daniel Kaluuya! And Sienna Miller! Join me next week with singers Ella Henderson and Tom Grennan, rugby great Gareth Thomas, comedian Judy Love, super chef Gordon Ramsay, and Oscar-nominated Rosamund Pike. I'll see you then. Good night, everybody. Bye-bye!
God Save the Queens. Under the watchful eye of Graham and RuPaul, a new ep of Drag Race UK has dropped on iPlayer. Here on BBC One, what we long for, what we settle for, and who we're made for. Your Friday night film, The Notebook, next.